Good to see you back again. We're all ready for chapter 4 of Guinea Pigs Online. Coco logs on. It took a lot of persuading from Henrietta, but eventually Ben decided that the cha-cha-cha was just what he needed to cheer him up. Guinea pigs, said Henrietta firmly, as she handed him another sheet of quilted toilet paper to wipe his eyes on, were extremely intelligent animals made of stern stuff. Fuzzy, like Henrietta's mother, the Antarctic explorer, had probably just fancied a bit of a change and gone out for a walk. He'd be back when he'd had enough of it. "Isn't that right, Coco?" Henrietta crooned, picking her up and stroking her lovingly. "I do hope so," Coco squeaked back, not wanting to worry her. She wondered what Henrietta and Ben would think of her if they found out she was to blame for Fuzzy's disappearance. "I'll go into work later," Ben said, sounding more cheerful, "and see if anyone's found him and handed him into the rescue centre." "Good idea." Henrietta popped Coco back and reached for her coat. "And if he's not there, we'll put up some notices. Don't worry, darling, he'll be all right." As soon as the Blisses had gone, Terry hopped in through the cat flap. Coco couldn't help smiling when she saw him. Terry was a skinny little patchwork of brown and dark orange, and he always wore a woolly hat, even in the summer. "All right, Co?" He headed straight for the computer, which sat on a desk beside the sofa. "Mum says you need a bit of help." Coco's smile faded. Honestly, she thought, the youth of today. Imagine calling the Queen Liz or Lizzie or Betty. But Terry was trying to help her find Fuzzy, so she decided not to pick him up on his manners at that particular moment. "One does require assistance," she admitted, helping him get the jump and the squashy cushion into position. "Ready?" "Ready," Terry confirmed, pulling his hat down firmly. Coco bounced him onto the desk, then waited. She could hear him scampering about. After a few seconds his hat appeared over the side. "There's nothing to throw down," he said. "The desk's empty except for the mouse." "But I need to get up there," Coco cried. "Isn't there a book or something?" There wasn't. "Sorry, Co, no can do." Terry disappeared. Coco heard the click of the keyboard. "What did you say the restaurant was called?" Terry shouted. "Oh, for goodness sake!" In a flash, Coco had climbed up, using the tangle of wires that hung to the floor at the back as a ladder. "How did you do that?" Terry looked stupefied. "Guinea pigs can't climb." "I can," Coco said, "as long as it's not too slippery." Terry was still staring at her. "One has to," she shrugged, "if one is to be any good at the harp. Now, let's get on with it." "Right." Terry turned back to the computer. Coco watched closely. She'd never paid much attention to the computer before, preferring to use the gold telephone next to Henrietta's bed to contact her parents at Christmas. But Fuzzy used it sometimes to keep in touch with his friends and swap guinea pig recipes. In fact, they'd had a few arguments over it. Fuzzy said she was terribly old-fashioned. Coco said his brains would turn to jelly if he stared at the computer screen too much. She knew they wouldn't really, but the truth was she was rather jealous that Fuzzy knew how to use the computer and she didn't. Being Coco, she was too proud to admit it. Finding what she thought was a guinea pig-sized seat, she made herself as comfortable as she could. Sliding off for the 5th time, the seat was the wrong shape for her bottom and very slippery. She tried lying on top of it instead. She shot towards Terry, scrabbling desperately at the desk with her claws to stop herself. "Nice technique with the mouse, Co." Terry looked impressed. "I usually just push it, but that looks much more fun." "Yes, well, I learned it at the palace," Coco lied, blushing, still spread-eagled over the device. She'd forgotten that humans used the word mouse in the same way that they used the term guinea pig, to mean something completely different to what it really was. "Where did Fuzzy find the advert?" Terry demanded, clattering up and down the keys, glancing at the screen. "Click!" he yelled suddenly. "In a newspaper," Coco said, flopping up and down on the mouse. Actually, it was rather fun. But he tore off the address of the restaurant. I thought he might have been looking for the directions on the computer. Terry scratched his hat. "Seems like he told some of his friends about it, too." Coco hung her head. Fuzzy had tried to talk to her about it, and she'd laughed. No wonder he wanted to tell his other friends. "I'm on his MySpace now," Terry continued. He shook his head. "There are loads of unread messages in his inbox." He clicked on something. "All warning him not to go." "Really?" Coco gasped. It wasn't just her, then. "Why? What do they say?" "There's been some weird stuff going on lately." Terry was peering at the screen intently. "Weird?" Coco echoed. "In what way?" "Scroll down." Fuzzy ordered. Coco whizzed the mouse backwards. Slowly. She rolled forward gently. Arnie from Crouch End reports 5 guinea pigs missing, Terry read grimly. Fifi from Chelsea says 8. Basil from Basildon knows of 3. The list goes on. Looks like someone's been breaking into houses, taking the guinea pigs and leaving all the jewellery. But why would anyone do that? Squealed Coco. An awful thought was beginning to form in her mind. You don't think... she began breathlessly. All that rolling and flopping was making her quite exhausted. Incoming, Terry yelled. Scroll! Coco heaved herself forward. She couldn't help thinking that the Queen would never have to do something like this. She wished she had a private secretary or a butler, or both. Well, 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 Terry gasped. Would you believe it? What? Cried Coco. What? She was stuck. Ken from Kensington saw his mum and dad being driven away in a van. Luckily he got a good look at it. On the side it said... But Coco had already guessed. The meat cleaver? She whispered. She thought of the picture in the newspaper of Scarlet Cleaver smiling up from the bottom of the cage, the huge chopping knife in her hand. She felt faint. If Fuzzy was here, he would have passed her the smelling salts, but Fuzzy was not here. Scarlet Cleaver was holding him prisoner, along with all the others. Coco was sure of it. Terry, she said, rolling off the mouse and rubbing her tummy, can you find out where the restaurant is? Terry went to work with his feet. Click, he cried. Tap, tap, tappity-tap, tappity-tappity-tap, tap. Click! They tapped and clicked and clicked and tapped. Eventually Terry sat back. He scratched his hat. Upper Street, he said. 111 Upper Street, Strawberry Park. Scarlet's groundbreaking new restaurant, the Meat Cleaver. The opening night's tomorrow. He checked his watch. Sorry, Co, gotta go. Mum's making lunch. Coco swallowed. Thank you, Terry, she said in a small voice. You've been most helpful. No problem, Terry said, jumping off the desk onto the squashy cushion. You know how to get the directions? Yes, Coco lied. All right, I'll tell my mum what we found out. She'll know what to do. Terry disappeared through the cat flap. Coco gazed at the screen. Fuzzy was in danger. Not just Fuzzy, but dozens of other guinea pigs too, by the sounds of it. They couldn't all be helping Scarlet Cleaver with the cooking, at least not in the way that Fuzzy had imagined. Groundbreaking, Terry had said. Coco thought she knew what that expression meant. It meant new recipes. It meant new ingredients. It meant trying things out that other people hadn't. Coco dreaded the thought of what might be on the menu at the Meat Cleaver on its opening night. That's what Coco's thinking. "111 Upper Street, Strawberry Park." There was a map, but Coco had no idea how to read it. She didn't even know where Middleton Crescent was, so how was she ever going to find her way to Upper Street? And even if she did find her way there, Coco thought desperately, how was she going to get into the restaurant and save Fuzzy? Banoffee couldn't help her. She had a family to look after. No one could. Poor Coco felt tears welling up. She reached for a piece of quilted toilet paper, which Henrietta had left on the desk by mistake. Its softness reminded her of her bed at the palace, and of Fuzzy's cosy brown fur, and, oh dear, what on earth was she going to do? Just then the computer gave a soft ping, as if it was trying to talk to her. Cautiously, she approached the screen. "New message," it said. Peering slightly, Coco was a little short-sighted, but too vain to wear glasses. She read the message. "Hi, Fuzzy. Can I be your friend?" She wondered what to do. "I'm not Fuzzy," she typed. "He's run away." "Oh, dear," the message came back. Then after a second or two, "Would you like me to help you find him?" Coco hesitated. She needed all the help she could get, but she vaguely remembered Fuzzy saying something about being careful about making friends on the internet. "Who are you?" She tapped out slowly on the keyboard. "My name's Renard. I'm a guinea pig too," came the answer. "Who are you?" She thought Renard would be all right. All the guinea pigs she knew were friendly. "Coco," she wrote. "Where do you live?" Renard asked. Coco told him. A new message appeared on the screen. "Meet me in the copse at the back of the house at midnight by the old folk tree. We can look for Fuzzy together." "OK," she tapped. "Thanks." Chopping down onto the squashy cushion, Coco felt a bit brighter. This computer business was easier than she'd thought, and fun. She prayed her new friend could help her. That's the end of that chapter. And please remember, if anybody ever asks you for your name and where you live on the computer, please don't tell them, ever. Next time, Chapter 5.